All right, so I want to create fronts for each pairing of pre-gen PCs. Now, I have some character sheets here for Oracle, the escaped prodigy guided by vibrations of the universe. Chief, the zeroed-in dab hand. Ace, the virtuoso talent, for whom even the post-apocalyptic battlefield presents never enough of a challenge. And Blaze, who is blood simple, and yet there's always someone counting on me. So the idea is that thematically, each of these characters have different, particularly compelling encroachments into their lives. We could call these fronts. I have this text here because it's a blog post on fronts from Dungeon World, Impending Doom, Grim Portents, I don't know, hordes and things. But really it's just the broad strokes, the broad concept of a front. In fact, I'm not even sure. Fronts are built outside of active play, like now. I'm not even sure I'm using this term accurately. To me, it's just if your players themselves are not actively pursuing an aim, if they're not actively pursuing a dungeon or to clear their name or to raise an army or whatever, then we need to have what I think of as glaciers moving across the landscape, scouring it, leaving behind rocks. Glaciers poised to run across the world. In my head, this is sort of a reference to Slarted Bartfast from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, who said that I believe he says he has glaciers poised to run across New Earth, the second Earth. To which the mice respond, well, take a quick holiday. Take a quick skiing holiday before we blow the place up. Because we're going to use Arthur's brain. Anyway, glaciers across the landscape. Now, typically, a single front, right? You can think about this as a cold pressure front. Is this how they draw them in the weather illustrations? Or the triangles go behind the line? I don't know. Moving across the landscape. Okay. Usually one is good enough for the whole party. And so, really only one of these will be needed at a time. But I want to make sure that if the characters pick Chief and Ace, that they have an appropriate front for that pairing. If they pick Ace and Oracle, it should be a different one. So in a brief conversation with my co-author, we discussed fronts for pairings maybe a year ago, and I haven't revisited it until now. So there, right. And the other thing is, this is not a two-dimensional map, right? Like, there's a relationship between all of these. So, for example, Blaze and Ace. Well, let's just start with the outside ring for the sake of this two-dimensional diagram and look at Oracle and Ace, or Chief and Oracle. Okay, so for Chief and Oracle, oops, that goes across the center. I wouldn't know which way to draw the triangle. That's why I don't want to do it right now. So let's see, for Chief and Blaze, here we go. We have Inquisitor, Chink in the Armor, Punisher Stuff, Slavery, and the Moral Scope of the Universe, No Marauders, Useless Eaters, Mad Max, Corrupted by Vices versus Corrupted by Power. Okay, so what do these notes mean? Industrial Sabotage, Spring a Saboteur, Former Pilot in Control Zone. Okay, I remember this adventure. And I believe my co-author played it. And I should definitely call him for his notes on that playtest, because he ran it for some friends. In person. So, Corrupted by Vices versus Corrupted by Power are characterizations of the two main villainous groups in our setting. So we have primarily we have the Fortress, who are an alien invasion, right? They brought some horrible space station that now sits in orbit above planet Earth. They have conquered the Earth. What do I call them? They are an envoy warband, which is to say that they are only the tip of the sword. There's an entire intergalactic empire out there somewhere. And they are armed to the teeth, fully ready to do maximal warfare. Although we do have to come up with reasons why they don't just blast the mechs from space. Did I mention that what I'm calling Pirate Robo is a Cortex campaign setting, right? So this is the Pirate Robo campaign setting. Which is using the Cortex rules for character creation and also Mecha mechanics. And all of that is built on Cortex Prime, which is a generic tabletop game system. Anyway, the Fortress are principally corrupted by power. We don't know their history. We, the authors, don't know their history because it's not important. It's not pertinent to their invasion of Earth. I think that's supposed to be Latin America. Cuba, Florida, and is that what Chile looks like? Boy, I can't recall water. Then there's like Antarctica. So we don't really care what is out in outer space. We only care about what's happened here on Earth. And so we have principally the fortress, and they send down big metal men to smash things. Sometimes they send down big metal bugs to smash things. That's also pretty cool. I mean, bad. So they are principally corrupted by power. They have total dominating control over the globe, Earth, right? Humanity's future. And they are not even people, right? They're horrible people. They're transhuman, or they're trans, person, right? They have adulterated themselves. This is not what's evil about them. That's sort of beside the point. This is actually what's kind of cool about them. What is it that's evil about them? Oh, what's evil about them is that using their total control, that they have no concern, right, for others. They are hedonists to a fault. They care only about enjoying their domination. Then, I don't know. To say that they're hedonists to a fault, that does not sound so much like corrupted by power. That sounds a little bit more like corrupted by vices, which is supposed to be the realm of the families who run a casino. So in the world of Pirate Robo, we have divided the territory into controlled zones, autonomous zones, and battlefields. And broadly, the battlefields are inhospitable to human life. They are not current battlefields. They are former battlefields. They are sites of the war we lost. I've been playing too much Fallout recently, and that is probably influencing my imagination. There should be lots of bizarre let's give the fortress some visual language, and the families that same visual language for enemy. This should really be like black and yellow. Okay. There should be lots of bizarre, I want to see like lightning storms. I want to see chemical spills. I want to see sites of radiation, clouds of radiation. I mean, lots of hazards. The B zone is maximally hazardous. And the autonomous zone is, well, let's see, and the controlled zone is maximally organized. We won't spend time as players. I don't expect players to spend time in the controlled zone. And of course, players always take things off the rails, but the way we can enforce this in a fun way is essentially anytime a character breaches the controlled zone, that escalates the concern of the fortress to a degree that it calls for the local MatFabCom to respond. MatFabComs arrive in mechs like 40-story buildings. They're skyscrapers. They get a size die. Cortex is a roll and keep, or at least Cortex is a roll and keep system. Oh, not size, scale. Is it scale? A scale die. So if someone in a mech frame is interacting with someone outside, if it's dramatic, it's in story mode. That's something we don't really, that we'll get to in a second. But if it's in battle mode, the mech pilot, the robo pilot, they call them tech in Cortex. We call them robo in our much cuter spin-off campaign setting. You get to keep a third die. So when you roll a Cortex pool, you usually keep 2 of your dice. If you're larger, if you have a scale die, you get to keep 3. And the MatFabCom gets a scale die on all of their mechs. And that's scary. It is winnable, okay? But it's ill-advised. So, for example, if you want to commit in some industrial sabotage and spring a saboteur, you probably want to jump the convoy that's carrying him or her to the control zone while it's still in the B zone. Because if you get to the C zone, you're going to trigger the MatFabCom, and he gets a scale die, and and when we ran this, it was a total party wipe. Can't remember how many. I think it was 4v1. Yeah, it was all of our heroes versus MatFabCom Harlan, who is the only MatFabCom that we've developed.